Okay, everyone, just give me 3 minutes. We're going to get started. Just going to go get something to drink. Keep. Okay, everyone. I'm here. L'chaim, everyone. We're living in, some people will say, frightening days, crazy days, incomprehensible days. It's all true, but for me, it's exciting days. Whoa, are we living in times? Why hasn't God decided to stop the entire world ever in history? The entire world, other than the flood? When did Hashem ever interrupt the life on earth completely? In Egypt, it was a pretty big disruption, but it was only in Egypt. Here there's a global disruption. The entire world came to an end. And the way the world came to an end is both in a makif way and in a pnimi way. In a makif way means in an encompassing way is that in universal, everything stopped. Everybody's lives were impacted. Everybody's thinking about this corona, right? But then it also became disrupted in a pnimi way, which means in an internal way. Internal way means everybody in the details of their life is experiencing some kind of a disruption, some kind of an obstacle. So the details of life, whatever your particular aspect that means that you're into, obviously your work life, but when you say work life was interrupted, it's every profession, it's everybody's work in their own field. But also your passions, if you're into sports, came to an end. If you're into socializing and hanging out in bars and restaurants and so on and so forth, that's your pleasure and passion in life. You can't do that. If you're into watching movies and going to theaters, you can't do that. If you're into travel, you can't do that. What are you into? Into going to museums, visiting, art. You can't do that. I mean, if you're into reading books, you can do that. That's about it. If you're into playing computer games, you can do that uninterruptedly. And if you're into being very religious and very frum, that's your very good occupation. But you know what? I'll tell you something interesting. Sometimes, I know this can be taken out of context. I hope no one will, but sometimes being religious can be a distraction. A distraction from what? Distraction from your relationship with God. I'm not saying chas v'shalom that ever being religious and doing, going to daven with a minyan, learning Torah, and so on and so forth, is negative. It's always good. But sometimes it's those very activities, if you're not bringing or revealing or doing it from a godly place, then they themselves can become a distraction. So God distracted all the distractions. Hashem distracted all the distractions. And he distracted even the religious distraction. We can't even be religious anymore. I mean, you can do all the religious things, but you can't do them the same way you've been doing them. So when did this happen? Never. It never happened in all of history. Because we were never at such a crucial moment in history. We were never at such a great moment, so this never happened. We are now standing right before the month of Nisan, the month of redemption, in the year of redemption, in the year of the number 8s, where 8s are transcendental energy. 8 is the time of miracles. So the greatest event in all of history happened now. Do people believe what I'm saying? Do I believe what I'm saying? It's hard to us to accept that something so awesome is about to happen. So we're thinking, maybe not, maybe it's just another fluke of nature. That's the other side of the illness. The other side of this virus, other than the fact that God has stopped the entire world, is that it's a virus. That means it has related to the klipa, the unholy. It's coming from Amalek. And what is Amalek? Doubt. So someone pointed out an interesting thing. I gave this little talk about how this virus is so Amalek it has the ingredients of Amalek. So I spoke a lot of things about it based on a Thursday night class that we gave 3 weeks ago. Or 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago. But someone added something really interesting. We're seeing two things. The virus is attacking the elderly and those that have a precondition. Who is the most vulnerable? People that have some kind of a medical disease or medical condition, and those that are older. So what does it say by Amalek? By Amalek it says Vayezaneh b'cha, that it came at the tail end of the camp, and it attacked, and the Amalek attacked Kol HaNechashalim, all the weak ones. And what's the nature of this attack? The nature of the attack is Asher Korcha. It made you cooled you off. So in many Chassidic writings, it explains that the whole idea of Amalek is to cool a Jew from enthusiasm, from passion. So we're living in the end of days, and we're all supposed to be passionate about the coming of Mashiach, especially when we're seeing such a climactic world event, it's a global event, and especially when we see that this event is happening after so many unbelievable things that have been going on the last couple of years that are incomprehensible. If you open your eyes and you're willing to see Hashem and you're willing to see Mashiach, it's clearly one long string of events that is completely Mashiach-tic. So this is, and we want to get excited. So there's that little voice behind us that's always scared of getting excited, because it says, and when you might get hurt, if you get excited, it doesn't happen, you'll have a letdown. That's Amalek. Or Amalek says, it's a sickness, it's a virus. It could have happened, it's just a fluke of nature. The nature of Amalek is Asher Korcha, it makes you cold. So one of the things about the virus, they say, can't stand heat, it likes cold. So, for instance, they're saying, recommending now, if you're not feeling so well and you feel this, you feel like you have it possibly, drink a lot of hot and don't drink cold. And also, try to do what you can to keep the area where the virus is very hot, because it kills the germs. That's Amalek. So there's so much evidence Amalek. So that's why I'm saying the amazing thing is that we can see all the signs of godly revelation. We can be standing at the threshold of the greatest time when goodness and holiness is ready to explode in the world like never before. Not like never before, like forever and ever, the world is going to change in the most incredible, happiest, godliest, the wonderful way. And we're saying, take it easy, don't get yourself so excited. Combination. There's always, God never takes away free choice. We can be at the highest point. You know, one of the things that it occurred to me before, it says that Moshiach doesn't have to make any changes in the world. Mashiach doesn't have to make any changes. The Rambam says, you shouldn't think that when Mashiach will come, that the world will come to a change. No, the world can continue to conduct itself normally. And then the Rambam says that Mashiach as well doesn't have to make signs and wonders. He can come very naturally. He has to do certain things. I spoke about it in the Monday night class, what Mashiach needs to do. He has to effect the observance of Torah and mitzvahs, fight godly battles, and eventually he has to build a temple, but he doesn't have to do anything that's earth-shattering that changes the world. So the interesting thing is that 30 years ago when we had already the prophecy that Igiyaz Mangolascham, the time of redemption has arrived, so Mashiach at that time wanted to come very gently without changing anything in the world, the conduct of the world. And Mashiach was banging on the door. He was knocking on the door, hoping that someone would notice him. Because he was hoping that we would learn Rambam. And if we would learn Rambam, we would know that Mashiach doesn't have to change anything. But no one was paying attention to him. So he tried knocking a little harder, but no one was paying attention. So he went to get a sledgehammer, and he came to the window now, because when someone doesn't want to open up the door of the house. So they're knocking gently on the door. He said, not opening. He said, what are you going to do? You're going to freeze outside. No choice. So he went to get a sledgehammer, and he knocks, and he breaks the whole front window. That's what happened right now. Mashiach now banged down the world, stopped the entire planet. Everything came to a halt. The whole world. And Mashiach is saying, hello, anybody home? I'm here. Yet in the middle of all this, Amalek can still say, maybe not. Maybe this is a punishment for Lashon Hara. Maybe this is a punishment because we're talking in shul. Nothing wrong with all those statements. They're all what we call katnas hamoichin, small-brained, small-mindedness. Not the ability to be able to see the global aspect of all of this. Since the world was created, the world in one shot never came to a halt, like right now. And it's not over. This is this week. I have no idea tonight they're shutting down LA. And today, they shut down Israel. Everybody stay at home. Whoever heard something like this? In the entire globe? Crazy. Any case, so this week everybody's isolated and we're sitting alone at home. And but I'm over here in Maayon, and with hopefully all those that are joining together in this class, and we're going to learn. We're going to learn a very, very special discourse. A discourse called Biyurei HaZohar. It's an explanation of the Zohar. This time it's a short one compared to the usual Biyurei HaZohar. Parshas Vayakel. It's Biyurei HaZohar. We've been learning quite a few of these Maimarim recently because I love them. It speaks to me. I like the Kabbalah of it. And also, you get such juicy secrets over here that you don't always see elsewhere. So the Alter Rebbe of Shneur Zalman of Liadi used to say in a certain time that I think it was more of a period of time in his life that the Chassidic discourse that he gave on Shabbos was usually an explanation of the passage of the Zohar of that week. Whichever the passage of the Zohar that week. His son, the Mittler Rebbe, would write them down. So this sefer is called Biyurei HaZohar, which is considered the Mittler Rebbe's book, but it's really his father's discourses. So now, I learned this discourse in the beginning of the week, and I really, really said, wow. This was talking exactly to the situation that's going on right now. Because one of the things that just happened is that we all went into social isolation. Everybody needs to separate from each other. We're all sitting alone. This Shabbos is going to be the first Shabbos, and I don't know how many thousands of years that most Jews are not going to daven with a minyan. I mean, at least not I don't know all communities, but I know in Israel, they're telling people to stay home. In New York, people are told to stay home. And here in Los Angeles, and in England, they shut down all the shuls. So I think that counts for most synagogues in the entire world. Probably in France as well. So, and in Spain for sure, and in Italy for sure, and in China as well. Maybe I think in China they're recovering already, they're coming out of it, but I don't know if they can have yet shul. So basically, Jews across the world are not davening with a minyan. Some will daven in makeshift minyans. Now, what is the strangest thing? The name of this Shabbos is called Vayakel, which means Vayakel Moshe. Moshe gathered. This Shabbos is the Shabbos of gathering. This is the only parsha. Crazy. Let's think about this. This is the only parsha in the entire Torah where the name of the parsha is to gather. A kahal, a gathering. Where do we do a kahal? We go to shul. Actually, it says that the Eibishter told Moshe Rabbeinu to gather the Jews every Shabbos. That means go to shul. And Dafka, this Shabbos, is the Shabbos where we can't gather. We're told stay home. Does anybody make sense of that? We have to live with the parsha, it says. The theme of the parsha is supposed to, what's the gathering? So when I learned this Maayon, I said, wow. He's talking about it. So on the heading of tonight's class, they wrote, join Thursday night class, a cure to social isolation. So I gave her the title, the girl who sent it out, Daniela. So I gave her the title and she sent it out. Then when I received it, I said, that people are going to read it, that I didn't name the class. I just said, join Thursday night class. If you're joining Thursday night class, this is a cure to social isolation. You're sitting at home, you can't do anything. You're not with friends, you're not partying now. Thursday night, another Thursday night, you can go out and have, go eat cholent somewhere. I mean, you can come eat cholent here usually. This week we don't have cholent, because I'm not going to be the only one eating the cholent over here. But come here every Thursday, we have a cholent, we learn. But this week you can't, so you're sitting at home. So you want to cure your isolation, join us and learn. I didn't even mean that. That's true. I didn't mean that because the Mimer actually discusses social isolation and the cure to social isolation. So the social isolation that's happening now is the extreme of what we're going to learn in the Mimer, that is really the natural state of existence, is this fragmentation. And what does it take to bring us together again? Which that power is a messianic power. So hopefully by the time Shabbos comes, we're all going to be together with the greatest unity we've ever had, but it came after this tension of this separation. Let's read inside. So the passage of the Zohar is discussing in the beginning of Vayakel it's not right at the beginning of Vayakel, I think it's a little further. I looked up the Zohar, but I don't have the Zohar in front of me right now. It says, Mi Ola Shamayim. What's that pasuk? It's a pasuk in Mishlei. It says, who went up to heaven? So the Zohar gives a bunch of interpretations. Who is this referring to when it says, Mi Ola Shamayim, who went up to heaven? So the Zohar says it's Eliyahu, it's Moshe. It gives different people who went up to heaven. Then the Zohar says, Davar Achar. There is another pirush, another explanation of when it says, Mi Ola Shamayim. That it doesn't mean Mi Allah Shamayim, who went up to heaven, that the heaven is the place you're going up to, and we're asking me, which person from down here, which being from down here went up to heaven. But rather, you're supposed to read the pasuk differently. That we're not talking about going up to Shamayim, but we're talking about Shamayim going up to me. Me is a level higher than Shamayim. And Shamayim, heavens, are rising to me, to that very high level called me. So the Zohar explains, who is Shamayim? So Shamayim, according to the Zohar, doesn't either mean the physical heavens, but a very, very high, we're going to see in a moment, a very high entity that is called Shamayim. And that Shamayim is rising. So you have to read the pasuk differently. Not me, Allah, who is going up to Shamayim, but Shamayim, Allah, me. That Shamayim is going up to the level called me. So the Zohar explains, Da kutshe berichu. This is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kamoda Kimna, like we've already established, that Shamayim is called HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, so that would mean that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going up higher. So for those who are not seasoned in Kabbalistic terminology or in Chassidus, will get very scared. That means that who's HaKadosh Baruch Hu? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is God. He's going up higher to someone higher than him called me. What does that mean? So, but for those who learned a little, know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is one of God's names. We're referring to one of the divine manifestations that's called HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not God, it's a level of divinity that's called HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The reason why we usually refer to God as HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the terminology of the sages is because that level of God called HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that manifestation rather of God called HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is a dimension of interaction. It's the most interactive element of God with the world. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Hashem's midos. It's Hashem's midos, Hashem's emotions. And Hashem interacts with the world through his emotions. Chesed and Gevurah, through kindness, Gevurah. That's why Hashem created the world in 6 days, because there are 6 emotions. So the 6 days of the interactive energy between God and the world. Why? And the Zohar says so, and that's why it's called, we'll see in a minute, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kadosh means removed, holy, removed. Baruch means blessed, which means coming down, flowing. Kadosh Baruch Hu is a blend of transcendental flow. That's what it means, transcendental flow. That means something that's flowing, but also transcending. So that's this level, because there is a level of divine manifestation that's lower than HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's called Shekhinah, and that's not called so much Kadosh, because the level of Shekhinah is the more V'shachanti, I dwell amongst you, I'm flowing in you, completely immanent. This is still a level that to some degree is removed. We can't grasp it, we can't understand it. It's beyond us, it's higher than us, it's not fully vested in us. But at the same time, it's also in a state of communication. It's in a state of outwardness towards the creation. So it's a combination both of removal and immanent. That's the idea of what's called HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? But it says over here that that's called Shamayim. Why is it called Shamayim? Shamayim means heaven. But Shamayim, and Rashi tells us, why is heaven called Shamayim? Because it comes from the word Eish Umayim. Because God created the Shamayim from Eish and Mayim. The deeper meaning, Eish we know is Gevurah, is hot, is Gevurah, and Mayim is Chesed. So Eish and Mayim together is the combination of Chesed and Gevurah. The combination of Chesed and Gevurah are the 2 primary emotions of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Then there is Teferes. Teferes is just a blend of Chesed and Gevurah. And then there is Netzach, Hod, Yesod, which are just offshoots of Chesed, Gevurah, Teferes. So really the 2 main is Chesed and Gevurah, and that's Shamayim. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is called Shamayim. Kamodai Kimna, like we've said. V'raza de milah mi, v'ha Kimna. The secret of the word me, we've also established. What's me? So he doesn't say much who it is. Me, he says, we know it already. Who is that? That's a level that's higher than the divine emotions. That's called the Bina. Bina is called me. Why is Bina called me? So number one, God's emotions we can interact with. We see them, we can feel them, because it's the outer part. Just like in a person's emotions are visible. But what a person is thinking that we don't know. Like their intelligence, you don't really know until you really interact with it. But you can watch and observe a person, you can say, oh, they're very happy now, or they're very angry now, they're very upset, they're very happy. We needed something to keep this live.
So you're looking this side.
Don't worry. He's 10 feet away. No, 20 feet away. Okay. So me, so me means who. That means it's a level that is concealed from us. The intelligence is concealed. The emotions is visible. The me is not visible. Me is concealed. Who is he? We don't know. Another reason why me is Bina, because me is the same letters as Yam, Yud Mem. If you put the words Yam and you change the letters, you get me. So we're going to see soon, Yam is Chachma. Because Chachma, the first level of divine intelligence is called Chachma, then goes Bina. So Chachma is Yam, then it gets turned around and it becomes me. Fine. And then lastly, me is Gematria 50. And we know there are 50 gates of Bina. Chamishim Share Bina, 50 gates of Bina. V'raza de mila mi, so the secret of the word me. So now when we say, Shamayim, heaven, Allah went up to me, that means that the levels of the midot, of the emotions, went up and rose to Bina. Now Bina is called the mother of the emotions. So the children jumped into the mother's arms. That's the meaning of mi Allah Shamayim, or mi Allah Shamayim. What does that mean? It means that Shamayim, the emotions, rose up to me, to their mother. It's like the children running, and now the children are running, each child's like a powerful emotion. And now they're going up to their mother, and she's going to hold them. There's going to be more sanity in the emotions. That's the idea, that the children go back to the parent. So this is the secret of the supernal chariot. Bedalit Sitrin. This is the secret of the supernal chariot of the four directions, which they are, we're going to see in a moment, the chariot of the four directions. They are the four emotions, the six emotions, but the four emotions, they are the chariot. Chesed, Gevura, Teferes, and Malchus are the four primary. So these are the four, yeah? Yesoid Kadmon, these are the primordial foundations or element of all of existence, the kulu of everything, because everything really is rooted in these six emotions or in these four primary elements. The kulu talian bahu asari la the ikrami, and they're all dependent, or they're all hanging, or they're all attached to this very supernal level called me, Atkan. Okay. So now we need to understand what's going on in this. So this is a passage in Zohar. And this is all related to the first pasuk in the parsha, Vayakel Moshe, Moshe is gathering. So here's where the Mittler Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe, starts to explain what is this idea that the emotions rise up to Bina, to their mother, Mi Allah Shamayim. So just very briefly, I'm going to say one nakuda, and then you'll see where this mimer is going. The mimer explains how once the emotions of God emerge, every emotion is extreme. The nature of the emotions are each one becomes intensely involved in themselves. That's what an emotion is about, self-feeling. So the emotion feels, let's say love becomes very intense love. And fear and awe becomes very intense, or discipline becomes very intense discipline. And therefore they become very, very far, one emotion from the other. And they don't tolerate, like it was in the world of Tohu, which was primarily like an emotional world where they didn't get along with each other. So in general, emotions are that way. Emotions are all extremists. And therefore, from the level of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of itself, really these emotions should be very, very extreme, and there should be a lot of disconnect and disjointness in these powerful, cosmic, super godly emotions, where they don't get along, which each one is in conflict with each other. What would that have resulted in it would have resulted in a world that is completely chaos. It would result in a world that has no connection, that things would be completely disjointed, and obviously you couldn't have a world. If so, why is HaKadosh Baruch Hu called Shamayim? Which Shamayim means Eish and Mayim together, blended together. Here it's Eish and Mayim, and they don't look at each other. They're very distant. The answer is that this harmony that comes into the emotions and unified is not coming from the emotions themselves, it's coming from their mother's influence. Bina, their mother, is able to make shalom and peace in the emotions because she's able to deliver into the emotions a dosage of bittul. And when she gives into the emotions a dosage of focus, of purpose, of bittul, which means it's not about you, it's about what the whole purpose is. It's not about the love, it's not about the discipline. It's about what the final objective is that God wants out of it. Once the emotions are humbled by the lights of Bina, which are higher than them, that shrinks or weakens and takes the sting out of the emotions, the intolerance out of the emotions, and allows the extreme emotions to integrate one with each other. And that's the meaning of why Shamayim needs to go up to me in order for it to be able to work the way it's supposed to. So now he's going to explain that. And that's why he's going to explain, we'll see where this is going, that even Bina, it's not really Bina. Bina doesn't have the power on her own to be able to cause this humility and this harmony amongst the emotions. It's really through her husband's power. It's not through Bina, not through mom's power. Because what do you see when kids are home with mom? A lot of mothers are getting that now. Kids are home from school. So they're fighting with each other. Mom doesn't have it together. But now the fathers are also home, so it's actually working out really well. But now the father and the mother are fighting. Let alone the kids. So, no, it should be only peace. In any case, when the mother takes the energy and the life from her husband, and that gives that ability and that discipline or that bittul coming from the father, he kind of sets that the purpose in the house, the sense of a higher standards, and that's what harmonizes the children. So the bittul, as we all learned, and we learned this many times, bittul comes from chachma, not from bina. And that's the meaning, take a look. Vayakel Moshe es kol adas b'nei Yisrael. On its own, adas b'nei Yisrael, the Jewish people, which represent the 6 emotions, we're going to see in the Maimer how the Jewish people are also rooted in number 6. That's why we were 600,000 Jews when we went out of Egypt. That's our total number. So the emotional level, the level of HaKadosh Baruch Hu on their own, is completely messed up. It's completely disjointed. But you need Vayakel Moshe. Moshe is bittul. Moshe is the lights coming from Chachma, Koyach Ma bittul, and he can infuse this achdus and this unity. And that's why this Shabbos, when it's coming Parshas Vayakel, right before Mashiach comes, we have the extreme example of all of us separated. No one can come close to another person. How far do we have to stay from each other? 6 feet. Mamash, this idea of number 6. Everybody, all 6 directions are dislodged, disconnected, separated. And then will come the power of Moshe Rabbeinu and say, Yidden, come together. Mashiach will blow a whistle, will blow a shofar, and I'll say, everybody together. That's what's going to happen. This week Shabbos. Yeah. I hope it should happen before Shabbos, but I'll be meichel if it happens on Shabbos. They should call us, and the whole world will come running. It will be real Vayakel Moshe. From where? From social isolation, from everybody sitting alone. Let's read inside. So now the Rebbe says like this, the Alter Rebbe, the Shamayim is called the level of Ze'eram. Shekolul, the reason why it's called Shamayim is Shekolul, it is incorporated Michesed Gevura, from kindness and Gevura. Shenikra Shamayim, which is called fire and water. Dahainu Shamayim ki Yadua, which is the idea of Shamayim. And the meaning and the intent of the Maimer Lefarish. The Shamayim Zehu Sha'oila Lebchenas Mi. That this Shamayim is what rises up to me. So remember we said, first he's going to attribute the Achdus, the unity, to me, the Bina. But then later in the Maimer, soon, in the next column, he's going to attribute it to Chachma. Shubchenas Bina, which is Bina Shenikra Mi, which is called Mi. Shehepech Oisi is Yam the Chachma ki Yadua, which is the same letters of Yam, of Chachma, but the other letters. I think the reason why he emphasizes that reason of why Bina is called Mi, and not all the other reasons that I mentioned, is because over here is Noigeya. Over here it's important to understand that the Bina is a transmitter and carries over the lights of Chachma. So that's, and it's hinted in the word Mi, because Mi is Mem Yud, which is the same words as Yam Yud Mem. Give me a moment. For those that are worried for my cough, I had the cough before the whole corona, but let me go get a candy so I don't, I'm not coughing. And also the virus, if chas v'shalom I do have it, which I don't, but if chas v'shalom I do, the virus is not transmitted over YouTube, not over Facebook, right? Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol neh b'dvarim. I'm sorry for the sucking, but it's going to prevent the cough, hopefully. Mishu hepachos yes yam the chachma ki yidu as it is known. Because the root of the Zeir Anpin and Mibchenas Bina comes from Bina. Bina is called the mother of the children. By the way, for those that are looking for the Maimer and you don't have the book and you want to download it, you can go to HebrewBooks.com and in the search for a sefer, you can put in Biurei HaZohar, and I mean, obviously, you can only do this in Hebrew, so those who are able to do that, search for the Sefer, the Mittler Rebbe. There's a new print. I think there might be a few old ones there, but look for the new one. Go through the Parshas. I can't tell you exactly which page it is. Over here, it's page 232, but on the drop-down over there, it's not exactly page 232, and that's where it starts. Parshas Vayakel. So you find Parshas Vayakel, you can follow inside. She's called the mother of the children. This is the source that gives birth to the midos, the zav, the zeir anpin. Because how does an emotion born? An emotion comes from intellect. When you appreciate something, get excited. I'll give you a perfect example. Who was scared of a virus, 6 weeks ago? No one. Now, they bombard us the whole day in the media, and you read, so people are getting scared. So the emotion just grew out of information, which you first understood in your mind, and then it translated into a fear. So Bina is the source of the children. Which, up there, it's the same thing in the divine emotions. There is Gedula, which is Chesed, Gevura, which is Gevura, Tiferes, and Tiferes, which is splendor, which is compassion, Chulu. Like it says, L'cha Hashem hagdula. To you, God is Gedula. What do you see from this pasuk? L'cha is also 50. Lamed Chaf is 50. L'cha Hashem means to Bina, which is 50, is Gedula, Gevura, Teferes. This is where it comes from. V'zeh pirish mi ala shamayim. What does this mean? Shamayim ala lami. That Shamayim went up to me. Shu sharshay shel pchenezah, which is the source and the root of the level called Zeir Anpin, Shenikra Shamayim, which is called Shamayim. V'zeu sha'amad davar achar. That's why the Zohar begins over here with the words davar achar, another pirush. Lefarish behepach hapashit, the mi ala Shamayim. This is the opposite of the simple meaning of the words mi ala Shamayim. I told you, mi ala Shamayim simply is who went up to heaven. Here it's not who went up to heaven, but that heaven rose up to me. Hu Kadosh Baruch Hu Shu B'chinei which is the level of Zah. Shenikra Kadosh. Now he's explaining why Kadosh Baruch Hu is called Kadosh Baruch Hu. Because Shenikra Kadosh Bevav, he's called Kadosh with a Vav, Al Shem. He's explaining why the Zeir Anpin is called Kadosh. So he's explaining like this. The real level of Kadosh is not Zeir Anpin. Because as we said before, Kadosh means that which is removed. The 6 emotions are pretty active in creation and pretty engaged with the world. That's not why so therefore, it's not really Kadosh. Chachma is a very transcendental state of existence, a state of light, of divine energy, that is undefinable, you don't know anything about it, you just know it's beyond. Bina has already some description. Chachma is still a very simple light. And therefore, leis machshava tfisa, no thought can grasp it. And therefore, the real level of Kodesh is Chachma. So why is the Ze'er Anpin called Kadosh? It's because into the emotions is drawn a flow of the Chachma light that makes that the emotions are also secluded and removed and separated. So but therefore it's not Kodesh, which is spelled Kuf Dalet Shin. Chachma is called Kodesh, like Shabbos Kodesh, because Shabbos is the level of Chachma, completely removed. It's called Kodesh with a Vav. A Vav means a thread of Chachma energy, of transcendental light, goes into the six emotions, like we actually said earlier. What keeps them together? What avoids their natural state of conflict, where the emotion should each one go into their own corner and not be able to, harmonize with the opposite. It's because the chachma that's flowing in them brings bittul in them. So that very reason, that thread of energy that flows into them, hinted to in the word vav, goes into it and makes that the entire Ze'er Anpin should be considered kodesh, removed and higher. So it's called Shekodesh Elyon, the Abba ve'Ima, because the aspects of Kodesh, of Chachma and Bina, father and mother, Melubish Bay, are enclosed in it, Ki Yidua, as it is known. Umasha Nikra Baruch, but it's also called Baruch, Hu Haini Matzad Shebchine Zah, because the Ze'er Anpin, Makoyer L'chol Hashpa, is the source to all Hashpa, to all influence. Ubracha and blessing, Lamata, below, Ba'olamais in the world, Ki Yidua, as it is known, V'dai Lamevin. So we know, it has within it a transcendence, but on the other hand, it's godliness already flowing to the creation. And the source of, we said earlier, it's the source of all six directions. It's the source of everything. And this is why he says, V'raza de mila mi, shehu bina shayrish laza. The secret of the word is bina, which is the root to the Ze'er Anpin. And he explains his words. How does the Ze'er Anpin go up to Bina? Shenikra mi, that's called me. V'oimer, and he says, that's the secret of a chariot. Pirish, Resicha hu b'chenes markava. Resicha means a chariot. Kamoya markava hagashmis. The susim, just like a physical chariot of horses, shebetelim legabe roichvay, that are, the horses are surrendered to the rider.
The will of the rider.
To the will of the rider, to the rider and to the will of the rider. So the same is also over here, that the emotions are considered like horses, and they're surrendered, they're considered a chariot to the rider, to Bina. They attach themselves to it, they rise towards her, they surrender towards their source. And so to the midos of the Ze'er Anpin of Atzilus, Nikra Resichi Allah, they're called the supernal chariot. Now, we know that the concept of a chariot, Merkava, is something that is usually spoken about on a much lower level. In the world, all this is taking place in the pure realms of divinity, in the world of Atzilut, in the world of emanation, where everything is purely divine attributes. But lower than that already, where creation begins, and there are angels that are created beings, we know the highest angels also form a chariot. That's already a much lower chariot called Markafta Tata, the lower chariot, because it's made up of creations, of finite, limited creations. So, but he says these two chariots are connected, because it's the higher chariot, which is made up of divine attributes, is the source to the lower chariot. The Nikru Resicha Tata, it's called the lower chariot. Markava de Chayos, it's the chariot of the wild beasts. Pnei Aryeh, the face of the lion, which is Malach Michael, as we're going to see later. Shen Dugmas, which they are even further, hear this, they are further, they take on another form. You have the higher chariot, then you have the lower chariot of the angels, and then it took on a third form down here in this world, where? In the desert, where you had the Jewish people that were set up in 4 camps, and each one had their own banner. Same thing. Shine dugmas hadala de golem. These is similar to the 4 banners. Lamata kemavua behechala is the Pashas Pekude. It's explained in Zohar in the Hechala part of Pashas Pekude. Okay. Hine klolas hamerkava the lamata. Now the general merkava, the lower merkava, which one? Which is not what we're talking here. They're the lower merkava, which is a derivative of the higher merkava. That merkava is the source of space. Hendalit sitre alma. They are the 4 directions of the world. Mizrach, Ma'ariv, Tzaf, and Vidarim. East and west, north and south. Shehen lamayla b'midas. In the lower chariot, they become the source of the 4 directions. Higher up, what's their source higher up? They are the midas. Chesed, it's the divine midas chesed. Chesed is south. Chesed is very warm, south. Gevura is cold, is north. Tferes is mizrach, compassion, splendor is east. Malchus, west. That's why we know Shechina, which is Malchus, is in the west. Dahainu Tzafen v'Darim em Chesed Gevura. Tzafen and Darim, north and south, are Chesed and Gevura. Mizrach and Ma'ariv, Teferes and Malchus. Teferes and Malchus Kidu as it is known. Now, so what does he want over here? He wants to show you, just like the physical directions are absolutes from each other. Uksiv, and it says in the pasuk, Kerachoik mizrach mimayrav, like the distance of east to west. Just like there is a very great distance between east and west, between north and south. So there is a great distance and a great separation between midos chagatam, chesed, kindness, gevura, discipline, teferes, splendor, and mem, malchus. Lamayla batzilus, they're very different. Hanikra siche law, which is called the higher chariot. Ki ein bechesed mepchenes gevura klal. In chesed there is no gevura at all. Ve'ein begevura mepchenes chesed klal. And in gevura there's no chesed at all. Elahem betachlis ahepech zeh mizeh. They are in absolute, complete opposite, one from the other. Kirchoik mizrach memariv is the distance of east to west. Chein kishenet toisev oid beis madreges ma'ilo mata. And then when we add another 2 levels, up and down. When we add the up and the down, v'nikra shisha k'tzavas ki yedua, it is known, it is called the 6 directions. So that's when we deal with 4. But if you add another 2 up and down, you're dealing with uksiv. There it also says, kamken ki kavaya shamayim ha'aretz, just like the heavens are endlessly higher than the earth. They're total opposite. However, all of this, kasha b'chenes vav k'tzavas dezah, shenikra said, but when are they each one separated as far as apart as possible? That's when these 6 k'tzavos, the 6 directions of the Ze'er Anpin, shenikra sichila, which are called the supernal chariot, misparshim lamata b'malchus tatzilus, as they translate further down to express themselves into creation. And how does God express his emotions? How do we express our emotions? Through speech, through words. So when the Eibishter expresses his emotions into words, which words are malchus, speech, then each emotion is onto its own. And from there it continues further to engage the lower chariot. Ubehem nemar, and by those malachim, by those angels, it says umisham yipared, and from there they are separated. Each one is onto its own. Like it says by the river, that it forks into 4 rivers, which represents these 4 directions. But when the 6 emotions of Ze'er Anpin, oilin, go up, lamayla b'pchenas bina, they go up inward, they go up close, more into the source, to where they're starting. We're in bina, in their mother, anikra ema banim, going up into their mother, kaniskel. It's like 4 children in a family. When they're little, next to mommy, they play, they get along. Then they get a little older and they become different. Each one becomes a businessman, and then they get into fights. Chas v'shalom. They shouldn't. They should all get along. But each one becomes his entire empire, his entire world to its own. When they were little and they were under their mother's apron, they kind of were still, all together. That's the idea. Built in him to b'bchenes pirud, them is a klal, they're not separated one from the other. Because they're nullified. They don't have the big egos yet, each one separately. They're all nullified in their source from where they're excavated. Because they're bottled, because of their source, they're overwhelmed with their source. They integrate one with each other. Just like a chariot that has bittul, that is abnegated to its rider. The Oz Nemar, and then it says, they're all towards you, God. They're all melted in you. They're nullified. They're not differentiated because they're all submerged in their source. As it says in a Makom Iti. Like it says when Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu in last week's parsha, he says, I have a place with me. And the deeper Rashi says it means that all space is canceled in me. That means all 6 directions, it's all canceled in God. As if there's no 6 directions. To God, there is no space here and there. It's all lost in Him. It's literally nothing. Is all one. Hashem, the farthest south and the farthest north, is equally one. There's no difference. Just like He has no time and He has no space. And that's the meaning of mi Allah Shamayim. That Shamayim goes up to me. The Shamayim, Shamayim, which is the secret of the higher chariot. Bedalit, Citron in the 4 directions. Chesed, Gevurah, Teferes, Malchus, Dezah. And the root of it are these 6 emotions, or these 4 emotions, V'hua Oile, and this rises, Lehiskalel, to go up, Ribchenas Bina, into Bina, Kemerkava, like a chariot, like Abaroichvai, towards the rider. And these are the first primary elements, foundations of everything, Pidishem Makar, Arisha, they're the first source. Dalit Citron to the 4 directions, Anirim Lamata that are seen down here. Bibchenas Yesh Me'ayin, in a state of Yesh Me'ayin, something from nothing. In other words, to us, the 4 directions become very pronounced. That's space and everything that exists in space. But first, the idea that there is space. But everything is dependent. Everything comes from these. And these are canceled in God. The Kulan, Talian, Basari, Law, and they're all dependent in this supernal place, the ikrami that's called Mishu, B'chenes Bina, which is Bina Hamalidim that gives birth to them. Upirish Talian, what does it mean Talian? Shemu B'telim, it doesn't mean they just come from there, it means they are nullified. They are Kamayal Derech Mashal, Bittul, Markeves Asus, just like the chariot of the horse, Legabe Reichvei to the rider, Ukenere B'chush HaTeva, like we see literally in nature, Shahamoyach the Bina, that the Moach, the mind of Bina, Shalit Al Alev, rules over the heart, ki yadua. So the heart is controlled by a power of Bina that rules over it, which is this idea of a Dailamev. Okay, so now the Zohar continues. Tachazi, come and see. So now he's going back and he's going to quote another passage of Zohar and he's going to continue explaining. Now he's going to explain what does it mean, Vayakel Moshe, that Moshe unifies them. So he's going to explain. Tachazi, come see. Katkai mashata derusa kame kucheberichu. When in front of God, it stands a time of great will, a time of goodwill, a powerful time of ratzon, of will, is there before the Eibishter. And what does he want to do? Where he wants to unify the supernal chariot. And he wants to bring them all together and make them one. In other words, when God wants, he's in a really happy state, in a happy mood, so to speak. And he wants more unity amongst all of existence. So a sound goes out from that supernal holy place called heaven. And he gathers together all these holy ones below. And all these great ones, all these big generals, all these great ones, and the supernal armies, he invites them all together. This is the meaning, Vayakel Moshe. Moshe gathers the Raza de Shamayim. Moshe, he is the secret of this sound coming from the highest heaven. That's the secret. What is he calling together? What is he gathering? It's called Adas B'nei Yisroel. Adas means all the 6 directions. which later translate into the 12 tribes. Inen Treser Mesharyan, these are the 12 armies. Mesharyan, Elon, Kadishan, the 12 supernal camps. Atkan, this is what the Zohar says. So now he's going to explain, what does this mean? So it comes out like this. On its own, the 6 emotions would be splinter. Because they have a constant connection to their mother, Bina, it kind of keeps things together. But when things are kept together, they're still divided. They're together, but they're... Then there are times when God wants everything to be packed, to be tight-packed. He wants everything inward. He wants all of existence to attach. He wants all of creation to suddenly feel integrated and loved. He wants everything to be pulled in towards the source, which obviously means a state of great holiness, where things are unified and together and attached and feeling connected to their source. When that happens, he emanates a certain power that reverberates from inside outward, and it reaches the farthest, most external levels of existence and pulls everything in. And that's the idea of Vayakel Moshe. Moshe gathers it in after a state of disjointment and separation. But when does that happen? When there is a time of goodwill. It's a time of benevolence. Like it says, Vani tfilasi, and I will cast my prayer, L'cha Hashem, to you, God, Eis Ratzain, in a time of goodwill. There's a special time of goodwill that this happens. Shahu, when do you have a time when God is like kind of an elated mood? He's happy. He wants to reveal himself into his creation. He wants the world to be unified with him. He wants the intimacy, the connection. When is that? Shu b'mincha de Shabbos. It's Shabbos afternoon, mincha time. Oy b'ne'ila de Yom Kippur, or in a very extreme Eis Ratzon, is the very end of Yom Kippur, Ne'ila of Yom Kippur, ki yidu as it is known. Val derech zan, similar to this, yesh kama pa'amim, there are special times, shenikra Eis Ratzon l'mayla, these are times when there is a Eis Ratzon, a time of goodwill, l'mayla above. Ve'inyan, a time of a favorable time. Ve'inyan, and he explains like this. That means the yesh pchinas tois vizgili orein sof. Now there is going to be an added revelation of the infinite light, ba'atzmus hamatzel, in the essence of the emanator. In other words, you can't explain what makes this happen, but this is something taking place in the innermost of the emanator, not emanations. This is in the source itself. Shanik al yedei, in other words, there is how is it possible to say of an increase? Very hard to understand this. But there is a higher level of desire there, whatever that means. Shal Shem Zen Nikra Eis Ratzain, and for that reason it's called Eis Ratzain Dafke as it is known. When this happens, Yo'ir Oir HaMatzel B'net Solim, the increased, so to speak, I don't call it self-awareness, or the goodwill that's taking place deep inside the Eibishter himself and God himself will cause this light to flow outward. It's like when the sun becomes intensified in itself, its rays going out will also intensify. So Yoir Oir HaMatzel, the lights of the Matzel of the emanator will emanate Binet Solim in the emanations. With added revelation of light. And then automatically, it's just Bolahem B'chinas HaBittel. So what does this do? The more they feel God, the more they shrink their self-awareness, their somewhat sense of beingness, which caused them, each one, to separate and be into their own thing and not completely integrated and joined with all the other forces. This nullifies that and now brings them together. B'chinas HaBittel and the Bittel, the Hiskalalus, these two things go together. Where there is Bittel, there is Hiskalalus, there's integration. Zem one with the other Keniskalial, but Pirish L'cha Hashem Magdula, in the explanation of the Pasuk L'cha Hashem Magdula. By way of analogy, Kishahamelech Besimcha, when a king is joyful, Me'ez Absurda Tova, from some kind of a good news. Hanageilat Smusa, but something that's very deep. The king got news that is about something that is touching him very deeply. Let's say something about, let's say he never had children And suddenly, and he tried to have children for a long time, and finally he got news that his wife was pregnant. And he was going to have a child. Like you can imagine the deep sensation and elevation that's taking place deep inside of him. Or when she gave birth, and let's say she gave birth to a boy, and this is going to be the crown prince, and he's going to be the one who's going to take over, and so on. So the amount of elevation that takes place, touching him in a very deep place, then he gets so excited, la'avadav to his servants, ha'oimdim lefanav that are standing before him. V'azai then, gam sha'avadim kol echad ve'echad nivra b'fnei atzmai. And even though the servants generally don't get along with each other so well, each one is on their own, mizbatlim and miskalim, suddenly they're all dancing together. Because they're suddenly overwhelmed by the king's joy, they forget about themselves. And that causes them to become integrated one with the other. Because of the bittul that comes to them from a much higher place, mikol ikar erkam, way beyond from where they are. And this is from the radiance of the face of the king. As he's projecting that into them. When he is happy. And we go over to the next page. Page Kuf Yud Zayin. That is a Yuval Namai will be understood above. She'ein kol yichud v'hiskalulus nase ba'atzilus, that there isn't this type of unity and this type of integration happening in Atzilus, bilti in the world of emanation. In other words, amongst the spheroids, bilti im lo shekadam tchila. If not, this can't happen if not for it first being b'chinas eis ratzain, a time of goodwill, ba'atzmos hamatzel, in the essence of the emanator. Through this, this increases the light in Atzilus. And then automatically, will be this unity and this integration, as we said earlier, and this is what it means. When it comes time, a time of desire, in front of God, which is the essence of the emanator. Where he wants to unify Resicha Ilah. He wants to unify the supernal chariot, which we said before, are considered the servants. They too are the divine emotions, but they're considered the servants compared to the emanator himself. Because not at all times are they so unified and so integrated. Only at the time only at the time that there is an Eis Ratzain in the essence of the emanator, Keniskaliel, as we said earlier, Atam, the reason. Then this light will come, the Yumshach, and will be drawn. Gam Adla Mata Mata, when this light, when this Eis Ratzon will suddenly burst forward, it will go out low, Gam Kain. And not only will it influence the upper chariot, it will even influence the lower chariot, all the way down, that it will bring a harmony and unity between the 6 directions of time and space, that all of space will come together jam-packed. It would all attach itself instead of this fragmentation. Kedibiyah of Bria Tzir and Asiya. And this is what the Zohar says. Kedein kol nafik, a sound goes out, a voice goes out. Pidish kala, a sound, ubchenas hamshacha, represents this flow that's flowing from this inner Eis Ratzon. It's flowing outward, milmaila, from above. Hanimshach, that's being drawn ad la mata mata, till very, very far. Kekoil, just like a sound. Shanimshach bedibor, that's being drawn into speech. Mehevel alev, from the heart. The excitement of the heart creates a sound, which that sound goes into the speech, which means it's going from the inwardness outward into the external part. V'amar, and he says, the high kol nafik, where is the sound going out? Mehai asari law, from this supernal place, the ikri shamayim, which is called shamayim. What does it mean, the supernal place that's called shamayim? Now he says, it's not what we called, he's differentiating, it's not what we called earlier shamayim. It's a whole different level of shamayim. Earlier when we spoke shamayim, we were talking about a much lower level of shamayim from where this sound comes from. The earlier shamayim we were talking about are the 6 emotions, the level called Ze'er Anpin, and they're called shamayim because Eish Shamayim, it's a blend of Eish and Mayim, of fire and water, the emotions. Here it's called Shamayim because Shamayim over there is water. Rashi gives 2 explanations of Shamayim called Shamayim. One is Eish Shamayim, and the other one is Shamayim, over there is water. So the other Pirush, Shamayim, over there is water, is referring to a much higher level of Shamayim, referring to the level called Chachma. Chachma is water Chachma is cold water. Just like water is clear, doesn't have a color yet, it's still not defined yet, and so forth. Pirush Shamayim, that's even higher. Again, the 6 emotions, their source is Bina, that's their mother, and the source of Bina is Chachma. Or at least the Hashpa, the influence to Bina comes from Chachma. So this is 2 notches higher, which obviously on these levels means infinite, beyond higher. Pirush Shamayim ze'eino kepirush Shamayim d'Eliel. It's not like the Pirush of Shamayim that we said before, Shu b'china Zeir Anpin, which is the Zeir Anpin. The Zeir Anpin is the target where it's going to, but it's not where the voice, the sound is coming from. Eletzoyne bekan, where is it coming from? Lefarish Shamayim, it's explaining Shamayim b'chinas Or Abba, the lights emanating from Chachma. Hamelubish bizah, that are enclosed in the Zeir Anpin. Shenikra Asar Ilah Kadisha. It's called the supernal place that's very holy. Mipchinas, we said earlier, what's real holiness? The real holiness in its purest state is Chachma, not the Zeir Anpin. That's only Kadosh with a Vav. This is Kodesh. Mipchinas Kodesh Elyon, the Kodesh, the supernal Kodesh, the Oira Chachma, the light of Chachma, Nikra Kodesh below Vav. It's called Kodesh without a Vav, Kidu, as it is known. The Shairisha Indian, and the root of the matter is, who keep a calm, since over here, since we want to bring a powerful dosage of bittul, since we want to bring a bittul where? In a very low place. We want to bring it all the way down to a place where there is real ego, where there's real separation. Here is where we want to bring a yichud and an eskalolus, an integration, a unification and an integration. The integration can only come through a shot of bittul, as we said earlier, and that's why he says, the supernal place of the lights of Father, this is what delivers the bittul, until they integrate one with the other. This is the radiance of the name of Ma. Of Abba, Shemeir Bezah, that shines in Zah, Noida, as it is known. That there is the powers of Chachma, which is called Ma. Ma is Bittul, Mem Hey 45, the power of Bittul, which Ma means Bittul, that shines in the Zeir Anpin, Noida, as it is known. Lefisha Chachma Ba'atzma, Hu Lamayla Mebcheneses. Now, why does Chachma cause such a unity? So he explains. Because Chachma on its own, Hu Lamayla Mebcheneses Chalkos Hamidus Legamri. Because Chachma, is completely beyond the division of the midos. The dafka b'pchinas bina, the main point over here is legamri, completely, because bina is also higher than the midos. Bina, but bina is not legamri; it's not completely beyond the midos. It's the source of the division of the emotions. He's going to explain this. The dafka b'chinas bina shu asaga, which is comprehension. The difference between chachma and bina we discussed so many times. Chachma is an idea. In the initial flash, when you're not seeing the details and you're not even grasping it, it's just the pure light, the energy of the idea, without the shape and the form and the understanding of it. The bina is when you're breaking it down to the details and you fully grasp it. Once you're grasping something, it takes on much more form. You can't grasp something that doesn't have any form. So it has form already. Once it has form, it's slanted to a certain slant, whatever that form is. So what does this concept call for? Does it call for kindness or does it call for severity? So it's already leaning into one of the emotions. But Chachma is still a benign state. It's still a fluid state. It hasn't yet shaped into any shape yet, and therefore it can go in any direction. She's called the mother of the children. It's like a father and a mother. When the baby is coming from the father, the seminal drop, it's not in any way yet colored and shaped and formed, if it's going to be a boy, if it's going to be a girl, if it's going to be this, that. It's very little veer. But once it gets into the mother, that's already where the shapes and forms and the details start to emerge. It's not even a source to be the Toldos Amidos. In Chachma, you don't have yet the differences that there is in the Midos. From Chesed to Din, from kindness to judgment to Kiyos. As it is known, Chachma is called a Koach, a abstract koach, a completely abstract. V'hainu koach ma, you still ask about it, what is it? I don't know. Ukamashal hamayim, and just like water, chachma we said is water. Shem pshutim mitzad atzmam, which are clean on their own, they don't have any colors. Ve'im bem gavin cloud, they don't have any color, they're colorless. Loy odom, they're not red unless you put in something red. But water on its own is not red. Veloy lavan, it's not white. White. Oh, but we're going to start getting colors in water, depending on what kind of glass you put it in. The shinoi of the colors come in the water. If you're going to have a red glass, it's going to be red water. If it's going to be blue glass, it's going to be blue water. You're putting it. So bina is called keli compared to chachma, which is called light. So therefore, in chachma, you don't have yet the definitions. If you're going to have a red glass, they're going to be red. The water is going to appear red. And if it's going to be white, it's going to be white. The same is also the light of chachma that's called water. Doesn't have yet the colorings of the midos. Hanikra gavanim that are the changes of the midos that are called colors. Chesed ugvura. Chesed is white. Gevura is sumak and Gevura is red. Kidu as it is known. Only when Chachma encloses itself in the containers of Bina, Hanikra Hasaga, that is called Hasaga, Sham Yesh Makar Legavnin, there is a source for colors. And this is the reason Hamayim Shebe Mikvah Metar Tameim. The waters in the mikvah, and this is Gavaldik. This is the reason why mikvah makes impure people water of mikveh, not the mikveh. If you go into an empty mikveh, if they let the water out of the mikveh, you can hang out in the mikveh all day long. You're not going to come out any pure. Only if you have the waters in the mikveh. So we're going to see in a moment that mikveh is bina, and the water in the mikveh is chachma. So you got to go in the water that's in the mikveh. Why? Why? Because all tumah, all impurity come from emotions that have gone haywire. When emotions get polluted, they cause all kinds of impurities. And the misguidance of the emotions obviously come because the emotions are not well balanced. If the emotions are well balanced, they don't go off into the wrong tangents. It's because each emotion, when it gets isolated from the other emotions, they go off the deep end. And that can lead to impurity. And I mean every kind of impurity. Every tumah is related to a misuse of energy as it gets misdirected, which comes from emotions not being balanced. So therefore he says, so Bina is the source of that. Because a Bina feeds the individual emotions, the specific emotions. That's what Bina feeds. But Chachma is still a state of where the energy is still clean, pure, and undefined. And therefore, if you bring the energy back to Chachma, it goes back, it brings the emotions all the way into a state of bittul, and they reconverge and reharmonize, and they're not possible for them to be polluted, for them to go off into their own, misguided, misdirected flow. They're all unified in their source, lost in the pre-energy that's undefined, that's not leaning in any direction. So in the mikvahs where you get purification. You ever thought about it? So amazing. Imagine thinking about this. Reconfiguring. Every time you go to the mikvah, you're reconfiguring your entire emotional status. Bringing the emotions back into the chachma, back into the... It's like coming out, you get an alignment. You take your car in and there are actually four wheels in a person's car, which represent the four emotions that we spoke about earlier. You go into you bring your car or your body into the mikvah. Your two hands, your 2 feet get realigned. Represent the main emotions. Everything is get back. Why? What's the secret? The secret is bittul. The straight of bittul is to get to a point which is beyond you. Once it starts you, bin is already, I understand. I understand like this, I understand. Once you're getting into that I, which is the intellectual ego, it translates already into emotion, ego, and that creates all kinds of imbalances and all kinds of extremities which lead to not good behaviors. So as he says, Mikveh itself, even though it's bina kiyidua, Maayon mechunasim, they're gathered water. Min Maayon, they come from the spring. Like Kamayasaga de bina, like the understanding of bina is like it took the water of chachma in, but it's already in a certain shape. Shenikra Maayon mechunasim, they're called water that have been gathered. Maayon chachma, from the spring of chachma. But that's not what purifies. Not the mikveh. The water in the mikveh purify. What's that? Think about it. How much water does a mikveh need? 40 sa. 40 measures of water are called sa. Why is that? So the Baal Shem Tov teaches that the 40 sa of the mikveh are the 4 yuds of Shem Ayin Beis the Chachma. God's name, as it represents Yud Kei Vav Kei, as it represents Chachma. The Yud Kei Vav Kei is in Chachma, is also in Bina, it's also in the Ze'eramp, and also in Malchus. In general, the Yud is Chachma, the Hey is Bina, the Vav is the 6 emotions, and the Hey is Malchus. That's Yud Kei Vav Kei. But really, each one, Chachma has its own Yud Kei Vav Kei, Bina has its own Yud Kei Vav Kei. That depends on the milui, the filling in. We spoke about this many times. Depending on how you fill the haze of the Yud Kei Vav Kei and the Vav, the Yud always stays the same, but the haze and the Vav change. You'll get different amounts. So the highest number that there is 72, and that's the name of Hashem when it is representing the level of Chachma. Then it's filled with Yuds. How's it filled with Yuds? Yud itself is Yud Vav Dalid. That equals 20. Yud 10 and Vav Dalid is another 10, 20. Hey is Hey Yud. So that's 15. 20 and 15 is what? 35. Vav is spelled Yud Vav Vav. So it's 22. It's spelled Viv. Yud Vav Vav. So 22 plus 35 is 50. 22 plus 35 is 57. And then Hey is 15. 57 plus 15 is 72. Good. So that's now, how many yuds are there in this? Well, you have the first yud, then the Hey has a yud, then the Vav has a yud, and then the Hey also has a yud. So you have 4 yuds. Those 4 yuds equal 40, because yud is 10. That's the mikveh. Mikveh is the 4 yuds. What's yuds? Yud is bittul. Yud is a tiny point. So how do you fix everything in your life? You get back to the point of your beginning when you're not even something. You haven't even started existing yet. You're the point of non-beingness where you feel the emergence of how you're emerging from nothingness, and therefore you have nothing but your purpose, but your entire. So when you fill yourself so deeply, not with yourself, but with where you're coming from, what's your entire pintala shebepintala, the point of points, that fixes, that aligns the entire system, that reconstructs that there is no more negative emotions. Everything is recalibrated. It's amazing that in a mikveh is the 4 yuds. Alkeinu mitar tamei, and that's why it purifies those that are tamei. Like we learned, like it says, ach Maayon iboyer, that how only a Maayon and a boyer, a spring and a pit, Tuma comes from the impurity of din, hanechas b'midos, that gets tangled in emotions that are, let room for these psoiles of din to get a hold of it. Since Chachma doesn't have any colors yet, as it's explained elsewhere in the Kavanah of the Mikvah V'day L'Maven. So now we'll understand why Chachma, if you imbue energy of Chachma down into a certain space, it causes everything to lose their sense of selfishness or of self-awareness, the pull of into self, and therefore separating from others. On the contrary, it causes you to melt back into the higher pool instead of being yourself. That's what it means when it says that a heavenly voice comes out. Heavenly sound comes out from a place called Shamayim, from heaven, and in this case, what Shamayim? Shamayim is Chachma, Shu B'chinas Hamshacham, or Era Chachma. This is the energy flow from the light of Chachma. Lahamshech B'chinas Bittel, and this intention is to draw down Bittel, Gam Lamata Mata B'Merkava de Pnei Aryeh. Also lower, where? All the way down in the Merkava, in the chariot of Pnei Aryeh, of the face of the lion. Shaba'olam Abriya, that means it goes all the way, not just into the levels of divinity, it reaches all the way into creation. Shenikra Kersaya Tata, which is called the lower chariot. Vikanish, and it gathers together L'chal Inun Kadishin, to all these holy levels, because these are holy angels. Pirish al derech mashal, by way of analogy. If you want to lift something up, you have to lower your hands. If you want to pick something up, you have to lower your hands down beneath the thing you want to lift up. You have to draw down the light of Chachma to lower than all creations. That means the lights of Chachma have to go down beneath everything. And that's revealed in the bittul that we find even in the lowest creations, that they have bittul to Hashem. Even the tiniest ones, or the final creation, the heavenly host, bow down to God. So you see, there's bittul in everything. Even the physical armies, even the constellations and the planets, stars, and all the of the world of Asiya, of the physical world, they're also nullified to God. That's the bittul of Chachma that reaches all the way down, like it says, Kulam b'Chachma Asisa, that Chachma reaches all the way down into Asiya. That is activated, and especially it is given an extra infusion of bittul when there is an Eis Ratzain above, and God wants all of the creation to reunify with Him. Now he says this impacts all these big beings, big machers, big beings, or Mashayan Elon, and the supernal camps or supernal armies. What does it mean, these big ones? Who al derech mashal hasar hagadol. It's referring to a great minister. Hakoidol kol hamachna ke'echad. 5-star general. He's got the entire army is under his control. V'kach lamayla b'machna Michael. So it is in the camp of Michael, who is the entire camp to the south of love, of kindness. In Michael, who akoil ba'atzmai. Michael himself, he first includes within himself all the billions of malachim, of angels that are part of his soldiers. Kol hamachna, he includes within himself the entire camp. Like in the banners below, you had the same thing. Bedegel machna Yehuda, in the camp of Yehuda, there are so many Jews, a couple of 100,000 Jews were in Yehuda's camp. But who was the one in charge of, who included them all? Yehuda himself. All those that were counted by Yehuda. Yehuda who Iker. Yehuda himself is the Iker. They're all called on his name. The rest of the Machna, it calls them Mesharian, the armies. Shema Pratim, they're the details. This is what the pasuk says. Vayakel Moshe kol adas b'nei Yisroel da raza de Shemayim. Now we understand what's happening in the world now. What's happening right now is coming the biggest Eis Ratzain ever. The Galus of Mashiach, the highest revelation. God is going to reveal himself like never before. Right before that, we're feeling a tremendous pressure of separation. No 10 people can come together. You ever heard something like that in the last 3,000 years? I never saw such a thing that Jews can't have a minyan. Okay, there was a Holocaust, but that was a Gezerah decree to kill people, but that you can't be together? Can't make a minyan, can't say Baruch Hu. Everybody on their own, everybody separated. Stand 6 feet, if you have them, 6 feet apart. This is the idea. It's going to be the biggest Vayakel Moshe ever. Perish Moshe, what's Moshe? Ubchenes Yisoid Abba. Moshe is the Yesod element, the transmission of Chachma energy. That's called Yesod Abba, the bonding level. Koyach Ma, the power of Ma, but the ability to inject that and infuse that downward. Moshe said about himself, I am what? Do as it is known. Therefore, he has the ability to get together. He was the only one who can bring everybody together. They're called the Shvatim. Since they're called Shvatim of Yudke, so therefore he has power over them, in the sense that he can bring them together. Vendala de Golim, these are the 4 general camps. But really, they divide into the 600,000, but they're the 4 general camps. Bechlal. The Yud Beis Befrat, and 12 specifically, when you take the 4 camps, and each 4 becomes 3, so you have 4, 4, and 4, and then each 4, 3, so 12, which represent the 6 directions. The reason it's 4 or 6 is because it's connecting to the 6 directions of the Ze'er Anpin. Shenikah Resicha, which is called the supernal Resicha, the upper chariot. Va'beis, and the second one, Bevav Ktsav, is the Nukva. And the second, he's explaining why 12. 6 of the 12 are relating to the higher chariot from the Ze'er Anpin, and 6 of the 12 are representing the 6 directions of Malchus. Because in Malchus and in her husband, in the Ze'er Anpin, each one has 6. So 6 and 6 gives you 12. Which is called the lower chariot. This is the secret of heaven. Moshe Rabbeinu is the secret of heaven. He's Yesod Abba Hamalubish Bezo, who is enclosed in the Ze'er Anpin. Moshe Rabbeinu is the one who brings together the Jewish people. And integration in the midos, both of the higher chariot and the lower chariot. Shem Treser, Mesharian, these are the 12 armies. Elon, the Kadishin, Metam Anal, the Dailamavim, from the reason we said earlier. The reason they divide into 12. Because each one of the 4 have 3 moichin. 4 times 3 is 12. Okay. So what does Moshe say to them? This is unbelievable. What does Moshe Rabbeinu now say to the Jewish people? After he infuses them with bittul, and he tells them, and he's going to unify them. For what purpose? There's a purpose in the unification. They need to do something that only they can do. What is he going to say? This is crazy. That we're learning it this week? We didn't do this before. Yeah, he unified them already then. Yeah, but this was for this was for another purpose. This is in order to make the Mishkan. So what was the purpose over here? He wanted them to do something, which is what we need to do this week. So what is it? What he says? Because now remember, you're dealing with, for the first time in history, that we have what we call social isolation. Everybody's home, and we're waiting for Vayakel Moshe. And Moshe is going to bring us together. And what? This is the thing. Take from yourselves truma. What does that mean? As itzaknu kulchoin, get yourself ready. L'salka alaychu, to take upon yourself, ulemetal alaychu, and to bring upon yourself, yikara de kursayu, the glory of the throne, Kadisha, of the holy throne, l'salka le'ela, to help it rise upward. Afrishu menaychu, separate from yourself. Inin yikarin ravdevit. Now we're going to divide the group. I brought you together, but we're going to divide. First, everybody together. Take upon yourself the yoke of heaven. Then, give me the leaders. Afrishu menaychu, separate from yourself. Yikarin ravdevin, the leaders. Elon, the higher ones, Lisalka, and your job is going to be to elevate lahit truma, to that elevation. Truma means to elevate. Raza de Kersayo Kadisha. What's truma? Truma is the secret of the holy throne. Lischabra ba'avon, so she can be attached to her fathers. Because the queen cannot come to her husband, elo be'inun betultin ulamata, only if she's accompanied by these girls, the Yaisen Imma, that come along with her, umedaber in law, and they lead her. They have to lead her. Like it says, Besulois achareha re'osea, that all the girls are coming along with her. Adkan. In other words, Moshe Rabbeinu is saying you got to bring Malchus, which is Mashiach, which is Malchus. You have to bring it to her husband, so she'll be able to receive the crown and go out and be Melech HaMashiach. So we have to do a coronation. So we have to, first of all, everybody has to accept it together. The Melech, we'll see it soon. And not only that, but dafke the leaders that are so petrified to open their mouths and say to the Jewish people that we're holding already by the coronation, that corona means coronation, and we have to coronate Melech HaMashiach. They're afraid to say it. Why? Because everybody's afraid. Today, you don't have to be afraid of nothing, because you're afraid who? No one has money anymore. Everybody lost their money this week. If you think you're going to get money from this one, that one, this, Baba Mises, you're only in the hands of the Eibishter. So you only can be scared of the Eibishter. You got to do what you got to do. Not this one, and that's what this one is going to say, and that one's got to do what you got to do. And what do we got to do? Moshe Rabbeinu is saying this week, I'm going to give you koyach. Like without me, everybody sits home. We're unifying everybody. Get together. And you're going to lift the crown. You're going to lift the throne. Malchus needs to be lifted up to Keser. And I can't do it. That's you have to do. And he's going to explain later, Soim Tasem Alecha Melech. You're going to do it through making a king. There you go. So let's see where it is. To understand the general mimer of what he's saying over here. And there's two groups. First is everybody, and then there's the leaders. And their job is Kechume Itchem Truma. You have to elevate the Truma. What does this mean? Unbelievable. First we have to preface one inyan. What's this mean? Now, first he wants to explain how is it possible to elevate God's throne? Who's going to elevate it? The chariot, the creations. How can creations elevate a throne? God's throne with Hashem? That means Hashem is being elevated by his creations. How is that possible? So he's explaining that. We need to understand the idea of the supernal chariot. Pnei Aryeh, the face of the lion, which it says in Yecheskel, Shehem enoisem es hakisei. They carry the throne. Or as it says, V'achayos, and the chariots and the holy beasts, noisois, they lift the throne, umenusais, and they get carried by the throne that they are lifting, similar to the Aron. Kamaimer Azal, similar to the ark. But there it also says, Aron noisa nasa, that noisa of nasa, it carried its carriers. The Kohanim who carried the ark, they themselves were carried by the ark. So here it works that way too, that the Malachim carry the throne, and the throne carries them. But what do you see from here? That the kisei, that the throne, Misrayim Mois, gets elevated al yedei hamarkava, through the chariot. Va'oila hagava l'mayla mayla, and she goes up higher, al yadam, through them. It seems to be an unbelievable pella. How can it be? How can you say a power of the divine that's limitless, because we're dealing with Shechina, which is still the tail end of the Ein Sof, but it's still part of the Ein Sof. It's part of the Sfirot. It's part of it's not a creation yet. It's God. It's Elokus, which means it's Beli Gavul. It's infinite. Yisroel, that should be elevated. B'mayla, it should go up to a higher level. Mitzad Merkava, coming from what, and what's pushing it? The Merkava, the chariot. Shehema b'pchenas Gavul. They're limited. Maayon liyesh. They're limited from nothing to something. They're the created beings. How can a created being elevate a power of the power of the Creator? The explanation is the Hagam Sham Merkava de Pnei Aryeh. So he's going to explain an interesting pirush. He says, even though they are finite, but what they're excited about is infinite. So therefore, they're able to trigger the energy from what they're excited about, and that energy is what causes the engine of the Shechina to rise. The Shechina to rise. That motorizes the Shechina with an infinite power, because even though they're finite, but they're connecting to, in their intention, to a level that is way above the Shechina. That's what he's explaining. Even the Merkava of the Pnei Aryeh. Nesavu yesh me'ayin was created something from nothing. Mipchenas Malchus Tatzilus. Malchus Tatzilus is creating them from complete nothingness. Hanikra Shechina, she is called Shechina. Sheshoyre Bekise, and she's the one that sits on the throne. Zesha Noisen, that very throne that they're carrying. Nevertheless, through their love and their fear, meaning through their excitement, they are lifting and elevating lebchinas malchus l'mayla mayla. They're elevating the Shechina, truma, kchume itchem truma. You can elevate the Shechina above, ad atzmus oirin soif, until the essence of the oirin soif, shalifnei atzilus, that's beyond atzilus. The Yuvan tam davar zeh, will understand the reason of this, bahagdim inyan ava v'yirushalayim. So let's first understand what's the content of their love and fear. Once we understand the content of their love and their fear, we'll understand how their love, even though it's a finite love, can create such a effect that it should lift the infinite, it should lift the Creator. Let's understand their love and their fear. Midas ava, who is spilus. The midah of the love is excitement. Shalmachna Michal, of the camp of Michal, the Sitra de Daram, which is to the side of the south. That's we said. It's an intense love. Midas hapachad v'hayira, and the fear of dread and fear, and the emotion of dread and fear. Who is spilus to Machne Gavriel? That's the camp of Gavriel, the Sitra de Tzafa. That's to the northern side. Now, what they understand that's triggering their excitement is finite. Ba'ava v'yir, in other words, what is causing the love and the fear? It's what they're understanding. So v'yir is always hu asher masigim. It's what they understand. B'pchinas ha'oras orein soif dafka. They're appreciating the godly power that's creating them. So they're understanding or getting some kind of an appreciation as a result of the appreciation and excitement about what? About the radiance of the Ein Sof that's creating them. Ella, she'ena masigim rak ba'orein soif hamispashet ba'olamais. Their actual understanding is only in the Orein Sof that's actually manifesting in the world. In other words, they're measuring up God, saying, wow, what an awesome God, look what He created. But that's not at all what God is, that He created this. But they're still excited about the creation, about what they can see. That's what they know. They know what's creation. And they know the power of God that's creating it. So they're only realizing the Orein Sof that's mispashed in the world. That's only Malchus of Atzilus. Shemesham nimshach makor choitzev his havas mitziyasam, because from there is where the source, from where they've been excavated, from where what has created them. Yesh Maayon, something from nothing. Avol makom, nevertheless, his spilus atzma, the excitement itself, zulas hasaga, not what they're understanding, but the excitement itself is to who? Harehu legaba atzmos oirin soif dafka, is not to what they're understanding. It's to, wow, they understand that, and that's what's triggering wow. But the actual wow is the power of the Eibishter. That's what it is. Because their love that is being triggered or born from this understanding, who dafka legaba atzmas oirin soif, is to the essence of the oirin soif that they're not understanding. Because what they understand is like making them, they're connected to. They're realizing that he's beyond that, and that's what they're pulling to be absorbed in what's beyond their existence. The actual understanding is becoming contracted. Lahasik, to apprehend rak b'pashtus oirin soif, only in the expansion of the oirin soif. Rak b'pchinas malchus, only in malchus. Avana noilad masag ezois. But what is born from this understanding, la'ava oy le'yira, to love and to fear, u'ava le'ein soif atzmoi, is the love to the Ein Sof himself, or yayiru pachad me'ein soif atzmoi, or the dread and the fear from the Ein Sof himself. V'im kein arei ba'ava v'yirish alahem, in their love and their fear, ma'oras oirin soif atzmoi, is from the radiance of the oirin soif itself. V'nikru avas v'yiras Ein Sof mamish. So the love and the fear is called a love and a fear that's Ein Sof. So basically they're producing an energy that's infinite, because the target is the infinite, so it has that infinite element to it. Shrei espilus nidma, because the espilus is reflecting al erech hapoyela espilus, to the one that's creating the excitement, not to the one that's getting excited. Dahainu misha mispalim machmasoi, the one that they're getting excited about. Ubahakdam zois. Once we understand this, we can see the power that we have. Hareyuvan sheba'ava ve'yira shalahem, that through their love and their fear, mamshichem ha'oras atzmus oirin soif. So since they're excited about the essence of the Ein Sof, so they're actually pulling that. They're stimulating the atzmus of the Oirin Sof, the essence of the Oirin Sof, b'malchus into Malchus, who's their creator. Shalamayla mebchinas espashtus Oirin Sof b'midas Malchus. And what they're drawing down is something more than the ordinary flow. In other words, put it this way. There is a regular flow of a radiance of the Orein Sof that usually flows into Malchus. But their excitement is increasing this light and adding more Ha'oras Ein Sof into Malchus, and that's causing Malchus to rise much higher. Well,
Does an LED or the Yud become a Vav?
What?
The Yud, the opening, expanded the Kav, or that's an expansion of changing from a regular light to LED, to more intense?
Much more intense. Into Malchus. So Malchus is becoming...
So it's not like a Kav with a bracha, different light coming in, or different...
No, it's a far greater, more intense... Malchus is now receiving an increased power of Ein Sof way beyond anything she had shaykhs to before. And that obviously causes, if Malchus is enriched, so all of existence is enriched with that Orein Sof, because that's what flows openly into creation. And this is called Truma. They're elevating Malchus. They're elevating Malchus through this added addition of Orein Sof itself that's now shining in Malchus, which came because of their excitement. So more than the creator energy has, when the creations are excited about that, that excitement is increasing the light in the air. That's why it says over here that these four camps of Shechin are called the supernal Rav Reuven, the big eyes canal. Upirish Truma, what does it mean Truma? That's the holy throne. Hanikra Kisei HaKavod, that's called Kisei HaKavod. Deine Kisei HaMalchus d'Atzilus, which is the throne of Malchus of Atzilus. Through their excitement, even though they're only receiving from Malchus, they can elevate to this throne, like it says that the Chayos carry. That's why he says in general, take from yourselves a truma, that Malchus is elevated. Now understand something. Was when did Moshe gather them? When they were making the Mishkan. Think about it. The Mishkan is Malchus. And what was the point? To bring the Shekhinah, to bring more Orein Sof down into the Shekhinah, into Malchus.
Bring God himself.
Yeah, to bring the Eibishter himself. The Me'itchem Dafka, that's what he says, Kechum Me'itchem, from you. You're the ones causing. Shenesala HaMalchus, that Malchus is elevated. L'salka alaychu, to go up as a result of you. L'salka li'ela, that she can go up Mitam Anal, V'dai L'meven, from the reason we just mentioned. But now he's going to explain the specifics of the words in the Maimer. Istaknu kulchain, all of you prepare. What does it mean? So it says two things in the Maimer, in the words of the Zohar. First he says, everybody prepare to do this. And then he says, separate the leaders. So what does that mean? First of all, he's addressing all the millions and millions of individual private soldiers. Every single one of them. Everybody that's in the camp. L'salka, it's roll call. Everybody has to come. Take upon yourself and lift upon yourself, not the elevation of Malchus, but first accepting upon yourself the glory of the throne. The meaning of the angels, the angelic beings or beasts, noises, shatargim nesia, travel, who not lucky yadua. That's what it means. You're getting ready to make Malchus rise. We said earlier, because there's an additional light from Orin Soif being drawn into Malchus, because of their excitement. From you, the question is, can Chassidim empower a Rebbe? Can you bring more energy? Of course, that's the whole idea. Because the excitement that you have about. And then he says, Afrishu menaychu in Ravrav and Ilan, separate the big bosses, that you should be the ones who should elevate that truma. What does that mean? There is all the regular soldiers, and then there is the guy in charge. Who are koilul kulam? There's the general, there is the officer on charge of them. Who are koilul kulam? He includes them all. And all the parts that come from him, nikra kamayanothim, they're called like branches, the gaba shorish to the root. First, they should accept upon themselves the yoke of heaven. Also, first, everybody should accept the yoke of heaven. All the details. Get yourself all ready to take upon yourself, like it says, this is it. Put upon yourself melech. It's amazing how this week, it's the Moshe Rabbeinu was telling them, this is the avodah. After I unify the scattered, this is your avodah, to gather everybody together in order to crown the king. And as he said, I'm all excited about it because that's the meaning of coronation, crown the king. But the actual elevation of Malchus, because of this radiation, this new radiance of the Oren Mechodosh, that's being impacted through the excitement canal. This is not done through the individual. This is done through the power of the general. These are called the big guys. Michal himself, who's the king, who's in the camp of Chesed. And Gavriel himself, in the camp of fear. You don't have bizulasai. Other than these leaders, they don't have the koyach to elevate Malchus, but they should koilalam yachad because they include lots of people together. Separate the big guys in the Ravrav and Ilan, l'salkalahu truma to wait to lift this truma down. I called out to the shluchim this week, and I said, a week like this is what we're being told. Moshe Rabbeinu kikchume yitchem, and the shluchim, each one is a rabbi of a whole community. Now you can't even that much spend time with the community because you're in isolation. Let's all get together and elevate the Malchus. Elevate Malchus. But we have to elevate Malchus through Soim Tasam Alecha Melech. That's what we need. This man came to crown Melech HaMashiach. That's it. Nothing else to do now. Zeh zeh. Achshav gegia azman. Zeh zeh. What are we waiting for? Another Corona? Chas v'shalom. No, the whole world stopped now. This is it. Nisan is coming. The king has to be revealed. What does it mean that he should be blessed with fathers? Should be elevated to her husband. That's called the supernal, the higher resicha, not caravan, the higher chariot. They're called chariot to Chacham and Bina, but here they're called fathers. Yeah, v'dailamev. And then it says, the Zohar says, you know why you have to do this? Because she can't go herself. Because she needs accompaniment. People can say, oh, you know what? When Mashiach will come, let Mashiach already do it. People say, let Mashiach, you have to help Mashiach. Let Mashiach do it. If they're Mashiach, they can do it. It's not true. She's not able to go up to receive this new light that is needed for the Geula. Her own. She needs help. So he explains the Hamatrin Nusa, because the queen, Pidish Nesinas Tamu, Malchus, that the raising of Malchus, she can't go on her own. She needs 7 girls, maidens, that are, it says by he's bringing a quote from the Megillah, that are fitting to give her from the house of the king. And these are the 7 chambers. It says the girls follow her to the king in Perek Mem Hey and Tehillim, where it's Mem Vav and Tehillim, where it's discussing this maybe Mem Hey or Mem Vav, and it's a beautiful kapitel. It's talking about Mashiach. It's talking about the ultimate, how she's going to greet the king. Why do you have to separate them? Because the level of Malchus, called the queen, she's not fitting to go up to her husband, only with these girls. Like it is in a king of flesh and blood, are the maid servants that go along lamalka to the queen, hamalichas oisa, that lead her mibesa from her own palace, el beis hamelech, to the palace of the king. Ubahem, and with them, val yodam, and through them. Hear these words: bahem, with them, val yodam, and through them, dafka through them, tavoy lifnei hamelech lesyached imoy. Will she come and be to the king, to be unified with the king, as stated elsewhere. So this is what Moshe Rabbeinu is saying. I can give you the energy, I can give you the whole iskalalus to join together. Now you got to do something with it. You got to do something. Kol nediv leiv yiviyel. Now the mimer just is very short. The end. Let's do this quickly. Then it says, what does Moshe say after the words Chume Yitchem Truma? He says, Kol nediv leiv. Everybody that has a good heart, a donating heart, Yivieha, should bring it. So the Zohar is now playing with the words. What does it mean? Yivieha is plural. They should bring it. Then it should say Kol Nedivei Lev with an extra yud. Nediv seems to be singular-hearted. Yivieha is again plural. It should have been Kol Nediv Lev Yavi. How do you have Kol Nediv Leiv Yivieha, which doesn't fit? Kol Nediv Leiv, so the Zohar says, Ilon Inen Dalid Mesharyan. These are these four camps, Ilon, that are higher, the Beklala de Lahain Klilin Kol Inen Mesharyan, that included in them is included all the other camps, the Ilon Inen de Nafkin Ma'avon Ilon, and they're the ones that emerge from the supernal father, the Ikren Nedivim, which the supernal fathers, Chacham and Bina, are called gracious ones, noblemen. T'chsiv karuhu, it says they have dug it, nedivei ha'am, the noblemen of the people, ilen ivan, these are the fathers, atkan. What does that mean? Pidish nedivim. So let's first understand, what does it mean, nedivim? In a yuvim behagdam inyan echa. We'll understand it by first prefacing something. The yasha serusa de li'ela shabam etzada serusa de latata. There is in a serusa de li'ela, there's an arousal that comes because of what we do, because of an arousal from below. And that works lefi erech dafka. That's always commensurate. Ima'at imrav. If we did a little bit, then we're going to get a little. If we do a lot, we're going to get a lot. V'zelo nikra nedivos. That's not called nedivim. Nedivim achar she'ena orva shefa ba mitzad atzmoi. Because you're not giving on your own. That's, if you have to ask someone for tzedakah, they'll give. But you have to ask them. That's not called a nadiv. It requires the request of the recipient. And how much? According to their request. And just like a poor man who's pleading. If the poor man is crying and pleading, and finally you give him, the one who's giving is not called a nadiv kolkach so much. If he didn't give him, only until the person had to petition and ask so much. But if someone gives because of his natural goodness, without having to be requested and asked, klal at all, it's called a good-hearted person. The same as above. There is a level in Atzilus where it just flows and flows and flows, and it's not dependent on what? On anything being stimulating from above, from below. Balos man. There's no requirement of raising of feminine waters. Mibiyah. You don't need prayers and so on and so forth from Bria Tzir Azir Klal. The essence of kindness and goodness, like there's a pasuk, Toiv Hashem la'koil. The Eibishter gives everybody. It's not. This level is called nedivim. So, and this level was very, very present and very active before the Hishtalshalus of Abiyah, before there was the whole system set up. There wasn't anybody to stimulate. There was no one to arouse feminine waters, no one to deserve, because no one existed. So then Hashem gave, when he decided to create, from the essence of his kindness, he desires to do kindness. Afterwards, but afterwards the light and the shefa is dependent in the actions of the low. As stated in Eitz Chaim. In the level of Nedivis, in the level of Nedivis is another inyan. The fact that it's a place that can flow without anybody stimulating it means also that any stimulation from below doesn't reach this place. It's self-motivated. It's a very internal, it's not external that gets stimulated by the outside. It's a very deep place in the mashpia that flows because he wants to give, not because anything of the outside impresses him. On his own he gives. Yavai, metam mashal anal, because of the reason that we said earlier. Benediv leiv ba'adam hatach lamata, just like we said over here, that he doesn't, he's not waiting. He's just because he's so overflowing with goodness. Zau kol nediv leiv, the level called nediv leiv yiviyel mitzad atzmoi will bring what? So we're going to see that once there is this idea that Malchus is rising, yes, because of the work of the chariot of all those below that are lifting up the Shekhinah with their longing or their church or their avoda or their accepting of the king or whatever it is that they're causing the king to rise, the level of Malchus to rise. At the same time, there is a powerful downward flow from levels that are higher than Malchus, which Yivi are bringing Malchus. We'll see in a second. They're influencing a drawing her in. But it's not because we're elevating from below. That's on their own. And that's why they're called Gnediv Leiv, even though it's happening at the same time, but it's not as a result and as a consequence of what we're doing. This is completely from an inner place in God. Not because of the Yisroel that's coming. In other words, they should bring. Like we'll be saying. Because it's completely, if others are participating, it would be Yiviyuhu, many are bringing. It's not being brought. So who is this level that's causing Yiviyah? We'll see. It's the four camps. These are those that come out from the high level of father. The supernal father is father and mother, the supernal couple, supernal parent. Chachma Bina, shenikra sarim, that are called sarim. These are four levels that come from the Avan Ilan, from the supernal parent, and they're called sarim, and they're called nedivim. As we said earlier, nedivim, noblemen that all flow from there, comes without stimulation from below. Because the pasuk says regarding the be'er, the miracle well that joined the Jewish people during the time of the desert, Be'er Shel Miriam, it says who dug it? It says Naduhu Karuhu. The lashon at the beginning of the pasuk is that it was dug by the ministers, and Karu was dug by Nadivei the gracious ones. So he's saying like this: the Sarim are the father and mother, Chachma Bina itself. Nadivei are Chachma Bina Tatan, the lower level of Chachma Bina. The Nikra Yisroel Saba Utvuna, that's called Yisroel Saba and Tvuna. The Nikra Avan Tatan, they're called the lower parents. So there's two levels in Chachma Bina. There's Chachma Bina in the higher Chachma Bina of itself, and then there is the Hashpa of Moichin, if I remember correctly now. The Hashpa of Moichin from from Chachma Bina down into Ze'er Anpin. and as it extends its influence, that's called Chachma Obina Tata, the lower Chachma and Bina. And in Kabbalistic terminology, it's called the Yisroel Saba. It's not the level of Yisroel itself. Yisroel itself is Teferes. This is much higher than Teferes. It's the Chachma and Bina that's descending into Zeir Anpin to be moichen for it. So it's called Yisroel Saba, the grandfather Yaakov, and that's more related to Chachma, and what's related to Bina, the influence of Bina down, is called Tavuna. Tavuna is not Bina, but it's like an offshoot of Bina. V'hu anikra nedivim, and this is called nedivim shalamayla mebchenas chagas teza, and this is higher than the chesed gevura teferes of Zeir Anpin, because that's already a chesed gevura that's related to a certain degree to serusa de latata, to when we arouse from below. This is levels that are so high that are not influenced by avoda from below. They come. V'nikra chafetz chesed mitzad atzmai. This is called chafetz chesed on its own. V'azai lo yeshrak dalid mesharyin v'em chachma ubina v'chesed gevura shemischalik ben adas hakoylalam. And this is called four. What are the four? Chachma and Bina itself, and the chesed and gevura that are going down, which the chesed is Yisroel Saba, and the gevura is Tavuna, and that's what they're called. V'achakach mistafim, and later when they go mamish into the Zeir Anpin, it becomes 6. Bevav ktzavis, it becomes 6. V'nasim yud beis, and eventually they become 12. The dailamev. V'zau shama karu nedive ilan ivan ratzaloymer. Chachmo bina titan shemeirin b'moichen deza. Kemavu bein dalet parshis the tefillin. V'naf kemein and ivan ilan, and they go out from the higher shenikra abba v'imei which are called the father and mother, the supernal ones. Then today and day and the loy misparshin ki yidu v'dailamev. So this is these 4 that go out, and what do? Yevi'eha, they're part of this process to bring Malchus in to this yichud, to this unity of her with her husband, which means the Shekhinah, which is the source of creation, into this unity, and so that all of the world can be unified with the Or Ein Sof. So Yevi'eha, Yevi'uhu, loy ksiv, it doesn't say Yevi'uhu. That's what the Zohar says. V'chein Yavi loy ksiv, it doesn't say Yavi. And Yevi'eha, the Yachada Kula, to unify it all together, Kechada, or Lesalkala, and to rise her up, Legaba Baila, to her husband. In other words, when we will do our work down here below, there will come incredible spiritual powers from above that will also kick in. Not in a way of reciprocation, but it's still the inyan of Aliyas HaMalchus, which as I understand is the whole secret and the whole power of Bias HaMashiach, where the neshama of Mashiach, which is Malchus, is imbued with the highest powers, requires both efforts from below and spiritual power pulling it in from above, like he's going to explain now. Pirush Yevayahu mashma rabim means more than one will do it. Ube'emes b'b'chinas nedivim anal arei sham hu b'chinas eskalos. So there now it makes sense that it says Yevayahu, that they will bring many, because it's 4 levels: Chachma and Bina, and Chesed and Gevura, Ilan, which are called, right? These are the 4. So why the Zohar says it's lashon? It says it Yeviyaha in plural. He says it should really be, but the Alter Rebbe says it shouldn't be plural. Why shouldn't it be plural? Because since over there's a very strong iskalalos, mikol avav ktzaves tezah, from all the 6. L'chein nikra nediv leiv. That's why it's called nediv leiv, single-hearted. Lashon yachid. V'hainu yevi'eha lashon yachid gamkin. So it's lashon yachid should be lashon yachid. V'zeu sha'amar, and that's why it says Yevi'eha. I made a mistake. Yevi'eha is lashon yachid. Is in the singular. He should bring it. Kol nediv leiv Yevi'eha. He should bring it. Liyachta kula kachada, to unify it together. Kikala gavoya sham yoiser b'chinas eskalos. Because the higher you go, the more unity there is. Kanal barichos, as we said earlier. Mataritz oid kushya acheres, but he answers another question. The lama lo yamar yavi, kol nediv leiv yavi. That would have been the bezawai gam came ashmos lashon yachid. That would have been singular. The whom Hashem. So now he explains, because it's not yavi they're bringing. Yavi hey. They should bring Malchus. They should bring the Shekhinah. That's what Yevi'ah. Bring her. Shava zoisu lahalois lebchinas malchus is to elevate malchus shu hey achroina the shem avaya, which is the latter hey of Yud Kei Vav Kei, al ken yeviyaha behei noisefes with an extra hey. V'zau shama lesalkala legaba baila to bring it to her husband. Malchus can't be elevated. Earlier we said without assistance from below, but also higher than there has to be a powerful union. Itself, like we said earlier, when the sound goes out, in order to bring everything together, so there has to be a deeper unity taking place in the inner state. As Trumas Hashem, the Truma of the Eibishter, Las go kol inin misharian achrinin the inin tresen. What's the Trumas Hashem? To increase all these misharian, all these camps, achraranin, all the other camps, the inin treser. And what are they? They're 12. Biklala. What are they? Zahav, gold, kesev. Because the pasuk continues. Yeviyah, what should you bring? Zahav, kesev, nechoshes, oires elim. Hema yud beis chayas hakodesh shetachas hamalchus. It's not just bringing Malchus, it's bringing the unity into Malchus and then into the 12 things that are listed further. And when Malchus gets elevated, from what we said earlier, they too get elevated. The main thing is the chibur of the Eibishter to the world. So that now the light goes in from the Pnimius Orein Seif into Malchus, through Malchus into these 12. Shemeir ba'Abba ve'Ima hamalubish bezah, the Orein Seif that's first shining in Abba ve'Ima, Chacham Bina, and then malubish bezah, it's malubish in the Zeiranpin. From there to go into Malchus, from Malchus to the others. Fa'az nemar liha kesef liha zav, and then it says to me is silver, which means all these existences that were so outside, that was so much part of just the creation, now everything is attached to the center. Everything is attached to the nucleus. Sha'azav ha'kesed and chesed gevura, or chesed and gevura, shebe markava, that's in the chariot zois, in this chariot kedua, u'b'siyachtam ba'orin soif, and when they unify in the orin soif mamish, az nemar li ha'kesed v'li ha'zav v'dailamev. U'kedein Yosef Malka al Kursayu, and then the king sits on the throne. The Itza and her husband is, and the wife is Chabris Babaila is attached to her husband, and that's Mashiach. So I know he didn't say one word about Mashiach over here, and this is the avodah bringing Mashiach. But if this mimer is applying to what's happening in the world this week, this is what it means. There is a certain scattering. We see the social isolation is a scattering, and it's only an introduction for the great avodah of all of us together, causing Malchus to rise. We're going to have assistance from above. Everything is going to happen together, and Mashiach is going to be revealed. It's going to be unbelievable. L'chaim u'lebracha for the ganze mishpacha.
Let me give you the background.
1 second, I have to close this.
Yeah. I explained the force. What's the force of gathering?
Oh, a minute, I have to shut the thing.